We'll start
Yeah.
with presentation. Thank you, Dharna. We'll talk about that. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
starting the session in next 30 seconds. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our third session on Pehchaan, which has been really well appreciated by the lot of visitors, audience, the youngsters, millennials, senior people. Uh, Today we have with us Miss Pooja and Manpreet, who is actually going to chit chat and understand. They will know each other very great in a very great manner and figure it out what is the best way to succeed in life with various set of passions that we have in our life, right? So I think let's start a very in a very warm way, a great manner. Let me welcome Miss Pooja and Miss Manpreet. Namaste from Prism. Thank you so much.
Thank
All right, so
thank
I
you,
think
Anubhav.
I'll put it to Manpreet. I think you take the show, please. All to you, Manpreet.
Thank you so much, Anubhav, and thank you, Pooja, and everybody who's here with us today. And this is such a special occasion. You've made it so special, Anubhav, for all of us. The special section of Prism which talks about Pehchaan. I think this is much needed. We really need to, have more Pehchaan to ourselves. All right, so I'll just begin this evening by a small little couplet that I would want to share with each one of you. So, this is how I go. पूरा करना मुझको अपना, मुझको आप छोटा सा अपना खाब, माना मुश्किलें बेहिसाब हैं, फिर भी मन में है विश्वास, मिलेंगी वो सारी खुशियां मुझको जो मेरे लिए है खास, नहीं बांधना मुझको रीति रिवाजों की जंजीरों में, लिखना है मुझको तो कामयाबी बस अपनी किस्मत की लकीरों में, पंखों को फैलाकर अपने मुझे नापना पूरा अब आसमान, and I'm sure much beyond that. All right, so moving straight to the session, we will straight away come down to it. So, as we all know, much is known about, typically the benefits of mindfulness and of course the benefits of yoga. But imagine what it would be when you got both of these two power words coming together. We know that physical activity consists largely of postures called the asanas, often connected by flowing sequences called the ashtanga, sometimes accompanied even with breathing exercises of pranayam, and usually ending with a period of relaxation or meditation. The real secret of yoga probably can be clubbed up in that one word, and that's the word awareness. To talk more on this, I'll just quickly introduce the host. So in fact, I'm in a rush to move to the introduction and hand it over to Pooja because there's so much that we want to talk to her about, and we have a very small time window with us. But so I'll just briefly introduce her because all of it cannot be put in words. But we have with us Yogini Pooja, the founder of Urja Mantra. She's a certified Ministry of Ayush Level 3 yoga evaluator and teacher, a personal trainer, a barefoot training specialist, certified in animal flow, Pilates, Zumba instructor, philanthropist at heart, poet, writer, singer, musician, and dancer. I can actually just keep going on and on. This is incredible. So probably I think we owe you a standing ovation, Pooja. But on this platform, let me very proudly welcome you to this session. And I'm going to straight away move into my sessions, my question series, because there's a whole lot of what we want to know from you on this small little introduction. So, Pooja, let me take you quickly to, some of the questions that we have for you. But before we go any further, can you just tell us how you kind of started your journey into the world of yoga? Over to you, Pooja. And if you could unmute yourself, yeah.
So I hope I'm. My journey with yoga started when I was very little. So my mom has been a practitioner all her life. My father being a Fauji disciplinarian. So we had all physical fitness around all the time. So we went into a serious abhyas when I was a teenager, where we had a Guruji who was taking classes, and he ushered all the kids around into it. And today also, when I take my class after learning so many things, it's a lot of things that I recall from that Guruji, my first Guruji,
Mhm.
who, things that I still speak and say. So that's how
Yeah.
my journey began. And when I started working in the hotel industry, and I delved into different kinds of fitness, I certified in different formats, but yoga was my backbone, and yoga abhyas was always by my side. So it's only during this time I decided, let's dive deeper. When you hit 40, you get this spiritual pang, and you want to know why and more of everything in life. And I wanted to delve deeper into the theory of what this abhyas is all about, and what our scriptures are all about. So that's how my journey has
Wow.
been of so many years. Yeah, thanks.
Amazing, amazing. Really nice to know that. And in fact, so when I was just going through the introduction and whatever little bit of research that we could do on you, of course, like I said already, there's so much that I'm sure we're going to explore as we move further. So when I came across all of these words, I'm so familiar with some bit of yoga, some bit of Zumba. There's this one word which really caught my attention. So if you could just, clarify more on what really is the animal flow, so because this is something that I haven't, this is new to me. And I'm sure, like me, many of our listeners here would also be very curious. So, what really is animal flow?
Yeah.
If you could clarify, and also if you could tell us how really, the woman can be using it into their lifestyle.
So, animal flow, like the word suggests, is quadrupedal. It's a very new form of fitness, where the inspiration is derived from the animal postures, just like the yogic abhyas. But what happens in this is that you flow, it's an animal flow. So, you move from one movement into the other. And it's not as forgiving as the yogic abhyas, where there is something for a beginner, there's something for an advanced practitioner. Animal flow is all out and out. You have to give it all. You have no scope because you're on your fours, and the movements are when they flew from a scorpion to an ape. It looks like a poetry. Every time I have taken a class and performed a flow for my students, it's it's I feel happy. It's very heartening that they go clapping in the end. And I would have done 40 seconds, and I have to tell them, guys, you all are going to be doing the same. So you don't have to applaud. It's not a performance, but that's the beauty of it. It's very rigorous. It involves your entire body. You can't be thinking about something else and performing it, just like the yogic abhyas. So yes, there is a lot of breath work, and it looks beautiful, and it's very little is required to create a great impact in the animal. Still new. I'm amongst the very first few instructors in India. And and men love it. My husband is my student in Animal Flow, and he loves it because it just builds your complete body. It For women, it's fantastic because it builds a kind of arm and leg strength along with the core. So you see, we women, we always suffer with weak arms. We still have, a stronger legs, but we always have weak arms, weak core. We all complain of the same. So it works on the core, it works on balance, because transitioning from one posture to the other requires a great deal of balance. So as you start practicing, somebody who's not into any kind of fitness, it's a little difficult to directly land into animal flow. It needs a little bit of priming and proper guidance to get into it. But once you get into it, you realize it's the ultimate. It feels fantastic physically when you practice. So I think women will develop strength in their arms, they develop core muscles, the strengthening, they develop lung endurance. Because when you use your entire body, your lungs need to be working harder with the slow breath work that comes with it. And of course, the great balance that comes with it. So this is
That's very interesting to know. And in fact, probably we're trying to do away with the taboo of being the weaker sex. Although I'm sure by mind and spirit and heart, we are definitely much, much stronger. But yes, that little bit of the lens and, the animal flow helps us all take it forward. Okay, I'm just getting some more inquisitive here. So, Pooja, I just request again if you could clarify to all of us here, how really are these two express forms of Zumba and yoga, that have been mentioned again, and I'm sure you ace at it. So, how are these two aligned?
okay. So Zumba, we all know it's a high intensity dance fitness format, and there is a whole lot of energy exchange. There is cheer. It's all about externalizing yourself because you open your senses to listening the music, to figuring out the beat, to getting your feet moving. So you have externalized yourself completely. So it's a very external form of fitness, which is high energy. It is an expression. So when people come into a Zumba class, they express themselves, whichever way they can, whether they are dancers or non-dancers. It is their expression. It's a vent. It creates this kind of bonding in class, because when you achieve a choreography, when you understand a choreography and you start doing with the instructor, you get this feeling of satisfaction and achievement. So this is like a high intensity format. When we look at the yogic abhyas takes you dives helps you dive deeper within you. So they are the two extremes of something which we can work upon on our own body. So while this the yogic abhyas insists, or it pushes you into diving deeper into yourself, there is this one similarity that comes between the two, that in both the extreme scenarios you have to be present in the now. You have to be present as an instructor in Zumba. If when I'm taking a class and I'm leading a choreography, and if some other thought comes to my mind other than my choreography, I would skip a step. It is that evident. I always tell my students, you will know I'm not in the class when I've missed a step. So that's how present you have to be, however externalized it seems. Similarly, we all know the yogic abhyas is phenomenal. It totally takes you inward. While you work on your body from the outside, the process begins from within and diving back. So you close in all your senses, you bring your senses into your breath work, you minimize everything around you. So it's all about internalization. But again, being present in the moment. So as a trainer, uh, trained in so many formats, I've come to this conclusion that when you are in the now, it's meditation. Whatever you are doing, when you're in that moment. So that moment sometimes comes when you are teaching a Zumba class, when you have perfected the step, mastered the choreo, you see your students performing to the best of their ability. That's a Zen moment. Similarly, when you're practicing the asana and you figure out that, I have managed my asana, I'm better than what I was yesterday. It's a solo process. Yogic Abhyas is a solo process. Zumba, you take along everybody along with you, because somebody else's progress is your progress as well, because it works together. So, but in both the states, being in the now is the key.
Wow. And actually, I'm like really, really impressed by the way you've drawn a parallel between those two extreme divergent forms that I've always heard about and known about. And, honestly, before I move to my next question on yoga, and I'm sure we have many more coming up, I'd just like to actually talk about another totally divergent theme. So when we say typically men are from Mars and women are from Venus, and I'm sure they never come close, tell me, are the men really instrumental in somewhere helping a woman, find her pehchaan and her sense, help her develop? Would you want to talk on that?
Yes, see, we cannot ignore the fact that we live in a patriarchal society. So ignoring it or closing our eyes to it is not going to help. So my mother is a very evolved personality herself, and she always, when we were growing up, she always said that I we are two parallel lines. Remember, we never meet. We go parallel. So when you are two parallel lines, there is already an equation of equality. Now the society being in such a way is, you have the women, I think personally themselves, they feel that probably i I let go of myself and let my spouse or partner perform better, or I think we are just somehow conditioned to beings, and to break that conditioning will take some time and take some effort on us, bringing our sons and daughters up in such a way so that they break that conditioning, and their
Mm-hmm.
children. So having said that, when we look at, sometimes I think men can be great partners, like I'm touch wood, I'm blessed with one, and men can be great partners. So if a man has a spouse who is still trying to find out whether I can do something in my life, who's not figured out, so they can be a great partner in helping her discover herself, explore herself, helping, ushering her to rise, like a lotus which is still under the bud, which is still under the water, and helping her rise up. Okay, so if a spouse has a partner, a woman who is figured out what she wants to do, but maybe he can nudge her, push her into, doing better for herself, because when she's happy with herself, the whole household will be happy. Remember, we are the axis of this whole spin of life that we have around us, right? So definitely, therefore, we are not the weaker sex. We are the stronger sex. It's some man
For
who must
sure.
have said this. Okay.
I'm sure. I'm pretty sure of that. And we are hell bent on proving him wrong, right?
I always feel like if the partner is already established and evolved like some of you, then I think the man has to accept, acknowledge, appreciate, respect, and not undermine. Because when both work at an equal level, like going for 9 hours to work, I think the gender diversity of responsibilities at home, they diminish. I think then you become two equal
Yeah.
breadwinners, and you work equally, maybe babysit equally, do things at home equally, so then the paradigm becomes like two parallel lines. And in any which way, think that we should come up to their level. No, we are undermining ourselves. I think we should just get better than what we were yesterday, because uh, I think we just don't need to cross each other's path and become a cross. We need to be parallel lines and walk together, as my mother always says.
So I guess along with the adjectives that you've used already, I just add one from my side, and which is probably the men should also have a lot of gratitude for us for
Yes,
being around.
I totally agree with that.
All
Yes.
right. Okay, so on that note, Pooja, and I love the positivity that you're bringing in with all of your talks. It's so inspirational listening to all of your messages. I'd just like to get some more advice from you. So I'm just, so typically when we all get stressed, we get bogged down sometimes by all of those, physical, mental challenges that we're facing every other day. So could you suggest us, let's say, some quick, practices or some tips, some asanas that we could, get that little bit of stress off on an everyday?
So, a lot of times, the kind of times we are going through, we go through a physical stress and the mental stress. So, answering your question, let's divide it into two parts so that it becomes very clear for the audience that what we are looking at. Okay, so when we look at a physical stress, I was watching a video by Robin Sharma. I'm a big Robin Sharma fan, and he said something very beautifully. And it said that, when you are continuously working, you start depleting your energies, your creativity, it starts depleting. So it's very important to take time off. Okay, the moment you take time off, you're ready to bounce again. So you remember that, like a bow and arrow, so you pull back, and when you take a time off, you pull back that thread to bounce longer, farther, higher, right? So we need to have a throbbing kind of. So when we look at physical stress that we go through with long hours at work and probably doing things at home, and who are homemakers, I think we need to take time off. Find that me time. Find that me time. Sit with yourself. Even 15 minutes of a concentrated, relaxed time on undisturbed time is good, which is loaded with positive things, not with scrolling Instagram, not with scrolling what's happening in another person's life. That's not called rest, being restful or resting your mind, right? And now let's come to the mental stress. Now, I personally feel that a lot of mental stress that we think is external is purely manifestation of our own reactions to that external stress. We feel, oh, I have a lot of stress. I think this goes even for men. And I keep explaining this to my husband often, that, the scenarios it at work or with, even to my kids, that, how you respond to that, how you react to that is what you're going to create inside, is going to manifest inside. So you can look at it and see how you can resolve it. If you cannot resolve it, you can't do anything about it. When it's not in your hands, you can't do anything. And at your own level, you can, on a daily, day-to-day basis, detach yourself from some, altercations, or some, some things happened, and you. So this is how you can do it at a mental and a physical level. When we look at asanas, forward bending asanas are fantastic to relieve stress. Inversions are great. Inversions, like, I don't want, I mean, like Vipreet Karni Mudra, Vipreet Karni Asan, there is Shirshasana, there is forward bending like the Prasarit Paduttan Asan, all these kind of postures which bring a rush to your blood rush to your upper body, they are very calming, and they induce some kind of a quietude within you, the forward bending asanas. And it also brings a kind of gratitude to all that you have. So all that cacophony which disturbs you in your head, the noise or the things that you keep going back to and keep coming back, and revisiting, disturbing yourself, all that quietens. And this, I'm truly talking out of, not out of reading anything, I'm purely talking out of personal experience. you know as the forward bending suggests, a feeling of gratitude, exactly what it does to you emotionally. Our Jayadev ji from the Yoga Institute did a entire PhD on this topic, that how bhavas, how body bendings can trigger emotions, how they can, quieten you, how they can encourage you, how they can make you duty bound. So forward, I'm not taking big names here because people may not be familiar. So just understanding that even if you don't know a posture, a forward bend will always help you. A forward bend in gratitude. If nothing, hold your legs, cross it, cross leg, bow down to your mother earth, to your motherland, and surrender. So, stress, when you surrender, stress vanishes.
I'm sure that's a very, very powerful message. You hand it over, you surrender, and that's the ultimate goal. So just taking the same question a little forward, Pooja. So I'm like very quickly touching another few years, and I'll be touching my 50s. So is there a specific asana, some kind of something that you would suggest for, let's say, women in that age bracket, because we have audience which come from a diverse age group. So if you could suggest something for the little, the elder ladies in our society.
So when we look at nearing 50s, it's a great number. Let me tell you. I mean, being here for 50 years and making a change, I think it deserves big applause. In the first, you got to believe it, that it deserves a big applause. That you've been here, done that, read your children, been responsible to your parents and to your family, and that's anyway, that's worthy of applause in the first place. But yes, what happens with the body is that the body definitely is, growing. So as it grows, we are all nearing, you hit menopausal, probably you're premenopausal or postmenopausal. So what happens when you're postmenopausal is your estrogen starts dropping. Now, estrogen is a very important factor which keeps us, mm, happy, alive, active, strong bones, good mood, great everything. You see, even in a 1 month period cycle, when the estrogen is going like this, we have our moody days, right? So imagine that is temporary. Imagine that there is something permanent fading of a very vital hormone, right? So when we look at it, it's this is we have to understand and accept it. First thing comes is an acceptance, that I accept that I'm going to be there. We're all going to be there sooner or later. So I'm going to be there, and therefore there is going to be depletion. And these are the things which will happen. I'll have a reduced metabolism. I will probably have weaker bones because there is less estrogen. I will probably have less fat burning. I'll probably develop a belly. I'll probably be aware. I'll probably be at risk of cardiovascular disease, because when estrogen is low, a lot of functions become lower. I will lose muscle mass. So when you're already aware, now first is acceptance. Now you're aware that these are the things that's going to happen to that can happen to me. Now I start working at these things should not happen to me. Now what do we do for these things to not happen? We need to work on three things. One is strength, one is endurance, and one is balance. These three things suffer And this happens with age, even to the men, but slightly a little later, because we have a more complex and more advanced system than them in our body. So first take pride in that. We have a more complicated and an advanced system. Like if you buy a very complex gadget, it will wear out the battery sooner because it is an advanced gadget, right? So we are an advanced creation. So we keep remembering. So we need exercise. When you talk of, because I'm trained in different forms of fitness and not just abhyas, yogic abhyas. And all these years I've had people, women in my class who are from the age of 18, 16 to 50 plus. So imagine the kind of range and imagine the kind of questions I have to me. And so from that experience, I'm telling you that we need endurance, strength, and balance. These three requirements have to be taken care of. Now, whatever is your interest, whatever kind of fitness format you want to do, if you've already been always been walking long hours and walking every day, maybe an hour, please carry on. Don't give up now that I feel lazy, lethargic. Fight that thing in your head. If you are used to swimming, please carry on. If you're used to weightlifting, please carry on. Nothing should stop. Rather, it should be more regular. So one can look at things like something like weight bearing. Weight bearing becomes important because your muscles are going to start losing about half pound every year. So when you have less muscles, you have less fat burning. Less fat burning हो रहा है and metabolism is diving. You see,
Mhm.
the moment you understand that this is what is the whole sequence, the jigsaw puzzle, when you put the pieces together, things picture becomes very clear, and you are exactly clear that okay, I'm very used to go attending a Zumba class. It gives me joy, happiness, pleasure, strength, energy, cardiovascular, lung strength, and my legs are becoming stronger, plus I'm enjoying. Please carry on with it. If you are an abhyasi, if you are a yogic abhyasi, please carry on. Go ahead and do all your twisting asanas, right? Your twisting postures, etc. Because the more you do the twisting postures and forward bending postures, you are using your lower abdomen. You're pressing your lower abdomen. Wherever you press, when you release the posture, the blood rushes back over there. When the blood rushes back over there, you have revived, rejuvenated that organ. So all the postures, I can name them, like I can probably like a Setu Baddhasan, a Hal Asan. I don't know if all are familiar with the names. That's why I'm making it, generalizing it, that twisting, this ringing at the core. When you ring, you remember you have your hormonal um, hormones, the adrenaline, the pancreas, the uterine hormones, they're all at the core. So you're going to flush them. When you side bend, you're going to flush them. Forward bend, you're going to flush them. Right? So keeping a good attitude and working on the three things, which is strength, endurance, and balance. Okay? So that's it.
So I would love to know more about the asanas that you just mentioned, and I'm going to request, probably what we'll do is on the chat box, we'll share your page links so we
Sure,
can follow
sure.
you on Insta for more of this. Because unfortunately, I wouldn't want to deprive the young audience of the questions they would want to ask you.
Yeah.
But yes, I do draw that, and I love the analogy you've drawn between the high-tech gadget. And at 50, I'm going to tell myself I'm rocking and kicking, and I'm still sought after.
Yes.
Okay, so before I move it to the audience, there's just one last question which I'm going to request you to answer, which is your comment on the PRISM philosophy. So we've shared an acronym and we follow very strongly the PRISM philosophy. So if you could just choose one word of the five, words, five beautiful words that come together and make PRISM, and
Yeah.
let's have your thoughts on that.
Okay, so when I understood that what PRISM is actually an acronym, I realized the five-letter words are very, very powerful, very well thought through, and I think each one of them is very critical. They are pretty sequential, preparation and respect and intent. I stands for
Implement.
implementation, sharing, and so for me, if I look at it at an individual level, implementation becomes a very important thing, because a lot of time I'm oozing with things and ideas that I want to do. I want to reach out to people, and many times I'm unable to implement. That drive is only till 98%, and 2% just I miss it somewhere. I think it happens. Oh, acha, chalo, I'll do it another time. But if I look at it as a as a social thing, I think sharing becomes a very, very important thing. That what I know I share with you, what you know you teach me, and my progress is incomplete without your progress. So we as women, if we do this, I think the world will be a better place. We don't want to become better than men or anything. I don't want to be. I just want to become. We all women should aim at becoming awesome. So how does that awesomeness happen? When we just bundle up together and walk ahead, and not bring down anybody. So your progress, my progress, let's share, and move forward, and the world moves forward with us.
Beautiful, lovely thoughts. So quickly, I'm just taking the liberty of stretching it by 2 minutes, but I'm straight away moving and taking some audience questions. So I know we have Niharika with us. And Niharika, would you please unmute and if you could ask your question directly? Or meanwhile, I have another question which has come to me from Sonam. So Sonam, can we take up your question? I believe Niharika probably is not being able to unmute.
Yes,
So Sonam, let's move over to you. Please ask your question.
hello, ma'am. So, firstly, I would like to that I can connect your life with Prism. That your birth was white light, and now you spread your colors. So, generally, my morning starts with yoga and selection of aim to create my Pehchaan. So, ma'am, what unique points would you like to suggest to youngsters like me to make ourselves stronger, not only physically but also emotionally?
So I think, I would like youngsters to stay connected with themselves, than being too much on the social media. Remember, too much of externalization, too much of being in everybody else's life, or, other people's life. We are somewhere missing out on ourselves. And this I've seen very closely with my students who are these millennials, I've seen this happen, and more so happening with the Gen Z. They are totally out. So I'm still talking about the millennials, that you guys still understand what I'm saying, that find time to be with yourself, and find that time how I can work to improve myself. Set some goals and set some things every day, every morning. Set an intent that I have these three things as my agenda today. At least I should by the end of the day manage two, whether it is for your health, whether it is for probably for your family or relationships, or for good food, or for work, or for helping others, or whatever your intent you want to set it in the day and try to achieve it. Find that half an hour to sit and reflect in the night. Do this reflection that, have I done those things? Have I lived my day with the way I wanted? Do that reflection. The moment you do the reflection, you realize that, oh, these were the things which I didn't do right. These were the things I didn't do well. So I don't want to make a mistake. So go through your entire day. So always, so set an intent in the morning and then go through the entire day in the night. That's my suggestion to all you millennials. I'm assuming you're a millennial.
Thank you, ma'am. I will try, and I will start this from tomorrow only.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Pooja. I think, like I said already, we have a lot of questions, but we wouldn't have really time to take up all of them. So just one little question which has come to me from the audience, and since Niharika, I think she has some connectivity issues, so I'll take it up for her. So just that if you could put up all of the different roles that you're into, just tell us if how are you doing the balancing act? And also I'd request if possible, I know you are a poet at heart. So, if you could give us your thoughts and, we'd love to hear a little bit of something from you.
So I think, yes, I mean, my intro said quite a few things about me. So I think when you're very passionate about something in life, there is very little effort from your end. It just becomes, it just flows from one. If you're a passionate mom, and if you're passionate, at your work, so, you are living every minute, every aspect or every role to the best of your ability, because you want to do your best. So when you're so passionate about things in life, I think you transcend from the role of a wife to a mom, to a teacher, to a, just you just keep flowing. And I think it just feels beautiful because you're continuously in motion and trying to fulfill yourself. And then I remember to find time for myself also, because otherwise I will feel depleted. So there are things I pat myself on, that yes, you did well, and some things I say, okay, I should do well next time, or get better at this next time. So that's how I think stay happy, and in best scenario, find the look at the brighter side of life. There'll always be a darker side. Can't help it. When you stand here in front of the light, there'll always be a shadow. So, but then I choose to look at the light and not the shadow. So that's how it is. Yeah.
And
Amazing.
thank you so much. This is actually amazing. Very, very insightful session, Pooja. So thank you so much, everybody. And thank you, Pooja and Anubha, for and all the audience for being here, making this an amazing session. And I'm sure we'll be connecting with you very soon, one more time. And there's a lot more that we, again, come back to you for. But it's been an amazing evening. And I'm sure, thanks to the evening, all of us have got our pointers on creating that Pehchaan while we are still into our journey on the planet.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Have a great day. Good evening.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
much.